right, let's start off with the first point. The work never stops. I think a lot of people look at people with like 1 million subscribers. If you have a large following, it would make sense that things would just keep on going up. That's definitely what I used to think. I just kind of assumed like every single month I get more opportunities, more money, like every single month it would just get better. And what I've realized is that that is not true whatsoever. It is such like downhills, uphills. It is kind of insane. So anyways, I can't tell you guys how many times I've looked up YouTubers that have like 1 million subscribers who are literally losing subs every single month or are only gaining like 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. You have to put in hard work like all the time. And even when you're super big, you definitely still have to be aware of what's trendy. So what you guys might not know about sponsorships is that a lot of the times it will take at least 30 days to get paid. So right after you upload the video, you're gonna get paid 30 days after. And that's best case scenario. A lot of the times it could take months and months and months, like 2 months, 3 months, 5 months. I've even heard some people say 6 months. And that is crazy, you guys, especially when you're like using this money to pay rent, pay your bills, all that. It's just really stressful, you guys, because you think that you're gonna make a certain amount of money one month and then something happens. Essentially with sponsorship, there's a lot of guidelines to fill. Like for example, I've done a sponsored video once where they wanted the product to be like 70% of the video, and that was just in the contract, and I kind of had like a hard time going about that because I really didn't want it to seem like too sponsory, but it's like, how can it not? So that's why sometimes when you're watching a YouTuber, it's kind of dragged out. It's because the company literally asks for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 50% of the video, or whatever it is. It's a job that's very self-centered. You're kind of constantly thinking about yourself, and it's not your own fault. It's that you are your brand. So you're kind of constantly thinking about, how can I up my appearance? How can I be myself more on camera? Or how can I get people more interested in me and stuff like that? And I feel like there's not really many other jobs that are like that. Well, I mean, with acting it is, but I guess they're kind of playing another character. And I guess with modeling, it's kind of like the exact same thing, except for that's mainly appearance. It's very easy to become like super self-reflective and very like inside. So I'm just kind of realizing like, wow, I need to kind of get out in the world. Like I need to volunteer. I need to like submerge myself in social activities because it's just like too much me. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, a lot of YouTubers are different in person, and the way that I describe it is pretty much like interest level. So for example, when you go and talk to someone, if they're going to be interested in talking back to you. And it's very, very surprising actually. So some people who I would watch their videos and I would just think like, you know, maybe we wouldn't be friends. And then I meet them and like I love them and we click. And then on the opposite side, there's some people who I watch their videos and I really love their content. I'm like, oh yeah, like we would totally be friends. And then I meet them in person and it is like the complete opposite, you know? I mean, I think that the majority of people are themselves in their videos. It's just obviously like the best version of themselves, because talking to a camera is like unnatural, you know what I mean? Like no one just like talks and has like a full-on monologue, because this is essentially what that is, right? It's like a monologue. So some YouTubers end up creating these characters of themselves. I remember I watched Glitter Forever 17 and she mentioned how she kind of like created this character in her videos. But yeah, I mean, I would say the majority of people don't do that. They are themselves. It's just like the best version of themselves. So going along with meeting other YouTubers, it can kind of go the opposite way. So I think a lot of YouTubers feel like they don't want to disappoint people when they meet them. When you're on camera, maybe you had some coffee, you know, maybe you're like kind of crazy or like your crazy self and energetic. But if someone were to just like catch you off guard at a coffee shop, you know, maybe you're not going to be like so like va-va-voom crazy type thing, you know? So yeah, I think for a lot of people, like they're worried about disappointing their viewers if they meet them. I know personally, I don't think that that's like something that I really fear. I don't think I struggle with it that much, but I've never had an official meetup. And I would say that's probably more because I just be like nervous that no one would show up, you know what I mean? And also the idea of like maybe even like 20 people coming to see you and then you have to give a speech like freaks me out. I don't know. So being a YouTuber can actually be very lonely because a lot of the times you're filming at home, you can be editing. I know personally, I've realized that I just like really don't like being at home for a long period of time. I just need to leave my house. I just really, really don't like it. And that's kind of why I'm like always working at coffee shops. But yeah, I feel like the loneliness factor is not something that a lot of people consider when like they start a YouTube channel. I think that it can look kind of really social, you know, because you have like these YouTubers going to parties together and hanging out. And it's actually kind of hilarious because I always look at it in the sense of like there's two extremes, you know, there's the extreme of kind of like being at home alone a lot, and then there's the extreme of being like at these crazy parties with all these like semi-famous people. So it's just like, you know, there's two polar sides and it's kind of very interesting. There's definitely a balance between filming things that you enjoy filming and filming things that are gonna get views. So YouTube is always changing and there are always trends that are happening. The reality is that there are so many YouTubers out there, so you definitely have to like keep up with things. You have to be studying other creators. You gotta see what's working, what's popping. And yeah, this whole kind of point goes around with like writers or artists. For example, someone could be like really interested in writing and they wanna write poetry, but it's very, very hard to make money at that. Now, don't get me wrong, you can, but obviously it's hard. So then maybe they get offered a job at like a magazine. I remember watching Girls on HBO and the main character, Hannah, that's kind of what happened to her, and she got offered a job at GQ and she kind of like essentially hated it because she really liked writing for writing, you know, like for art purposes, and here she was writing like articles about men and hairstyles. She just essentially wasn't interested in that. So I feel like when you're doing a creative profession, there like really is a fine line, and sometimes it's hard to find stuff that like you enjoy filming that will also get views. And also I think that if someone is filming the same thing over and over and over again, it can essentially get repetitive. So I think as creators, it's important to like reinvent ourselves. I've heard a lot of YouTubers say that lately, like gamers and stuff like that, you know, filming like 3 video games a day. Even if you like video games, I feel like everything will get old eventually, like if you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Alright you guys, so let me know in the comments down below if you were surprised by any of these points or if you have anything to add. I would seriously love to respond to some comments down below and just kind of like get a discussion going and stuff like that. But yeah, no, this was like not meant to be negative like whatsoever. It's literally just painting a full circle, just kind of talking about some things in the industry that maybe other people don't talk about. But yeah, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, and also let me know in the comments down below if you want me to do more like talking advice or whatever it is. And yeah, bye!